Hello, welcome to today's video. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody who is watching this is healthy, happy, and if you're going through a hard time right now, I genuinely, whoever you are, wherever you are, if that is the case, I really hope it improves. But right now, I'm going to get into my thoughts on the latest installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. F9, also known as Fast and Furious 9, is a 2021 American action film directed by Justin Lin with a screenplay by Daniel Casey and Justin Lin from a story by Justin Lin, Alfredo Botello, and Daniel Casey. It's the sequel to 2017's The Fate and the Furious and the 9th installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. In it, Dom is living the quiet life off the grid with Letty and his son, but they know that danger always lurks just over the peaceful horizon. This time, his crew soon comes together to stop a world-shattering plot by the most skilled assassin and high-performance driver they've ever encountered, Dom's forsaken brother. I'm just gonna dive right in. I love every single film in the Fast and Furious franchise. I have not encountered a film I didn't like. Even if there were flaws, I still love the hell out of them. That was until this film. This film takes flaws that have appeared in previous films and thanks to some twisted alchemy put them all into this film. It's the most bloated, emotionless, pointless story to date and I was utterly disappointed. The film truly suffers from Chris Morgan's absence and it's felt in every page of the film's script. The story is rudimentary at best, it does not advance the story or characters and it throws in everything including the kitchen sink. I think I saw it strapped to one of the cars actually. It makes no sense for the film to include a brother no one has ever heard of. It doesn't help that we had Mia tell Dom he is her only brother in the 4th film, but in this film she never stopped loving and missing her brother, so that doesn't add up. Frankly, nothing makes sense. In the past, with Morgan controlling the script, he used each new installment to fill in the gaps found in previous films so they would become more seamless. He did it to an artistic level. This film, however, decided to blow giant gaps in the series' timeline and character development. Dom's brother Jacob, played by John Cena, is an elite assassin and master criminal who used to work for the organization that has been recruiting Dom for the past 2 films, and Dom was only recruited because of his connection to Jacob before Jacob went rogue. So the middle child was excelling at life, becoming one of the best covert military soldiers there is, while his big brother is boosting electronics and oil around the world. That's pretty funny. Based on this new timeline, Jacob is actually the superior brother. The film takes this message of family and blows it up to the point it's practically a parody of itself. In this film, we include or mention pretty much every character who's ever appeared in this franchise, and half of them had no place in this film, and each one of them has a new relative, whether blood or adoptive, that didn't exist before. Han has returned from the dead and we're told Mr. Nobody helped fake Han's death because of events surrounding Jacob, and Mr. Nobody actually recruited Deckard Shaw to help him do so. This makes all of the events in the 7th film completely obsolete. Deckard's revenge, Deckard blowing up the Toretto family home, which by this film has still not finished being rebuilt, the trying to kill everyone all makes no sense if he's working with the same person who is helping Dom to kill him. What the fuck is happening with this film? Han's return now comes with some adoptive daughter who he saved and took in and would die for. She contributes absolutely nothing to the film. Their chemistry is non-existent, and to be honest, while maybe you could bring Han back from the dead, as was done with Letty, the way they went about it in this film made it feel absolutely worthless and illogical. Based on this film's events, Han should have stayed dead. Bringing him back for this was just a waste of a fun character. This is the first film in the franchise where we get to see Mia kicking some ass, which was really nice. It's about time we see her fighting back. I mean, we're saying this young woman who grew up in the, I guess, ghetto with 3 men raising her and growing up in the crime life, she never learned to hold her own. I find that hard to believe. In past films, Mia has always either been held hostage or running from trouble, so it's about damn time we see her fighting back and doing some fun action moments. She's finally acting like a Toretto. This film actually shows the women stepping up more and being more front and center, and while it's about damn time they did this, it didn't feel natural to this film, or at least the fact they randomly did this with every single female character. It felt like this film, in all honesty, was a setup film. We know there is a female lead spin-off film in the works, and I feel like this film was setting up that future film because nothing in this felt like it had anything to do with anything. Ramsey for the first time gets behind the wheel of a car, and honestly, I liked that she was someone who couldn't drive and got to be the tech girl instead. In this film, she announces she has no idea how to drive, never learned, and never got her license, yet she masters driving and shifting gears on her first attempt. I want to know one person who has no clue how to drive mastering gears in 2.5 seconds. The action and stunts in this film were honestly underwhelming. Each film has brought us something new and exciting and fun and thoroughly entertaining in its often absurd execution. This film just goes in thinking that if it can crash enough cars, people will be wowed, and I don't care how many cars you crash.
That don't impress me much.
There aren't any impressive stunts, the action is average, the cars aren't remotely showcased, they don't make a statement, there's no love or appreciation for racing or cars in this film, and that's been an ongoing theme in the franchise until now. For years we made jokes about if they want to top this, they'll have to take them into space. I don't think any of us thought they'd actually do that, but they did, and the how and why is the most bullshit storyline to ever occur in this franchise, and this is coming from a fan of the franchise. The science, none of it is rooted in reality by even a fraction. It was just too stupid for me to even find it entertaining because I'm still not even sure why it was necessary. After my recent rewatch, I was thinking how I wish one of the films since Tokyo Drift, besides the opening of number 7, would have included Lucas Black reprising his role as Sean Boswell. Be careful what you wish for. This film sees the return of Sean, Twinkie, and Earl, and I've never been so disappointed in my life. What the hell did they do to them? Twinkie and Earl had no place returning. Earl was barely known in Tokyo Drift, and Twinkie was only good for selling things for profit. Cars weren't exactly his expertise. Somehow the three of them are now based in Cologne, building a car to go into space and knowing how to fly planes, when last I checked that was far beyond their skill sets. Now technically this film takes place roughly 4-ish years after the events of the 7th film. That's my estimation based on Dom's son's age. Maybe 5 tops, which would put Sean, Twinkie, and Earl in their early 20s. However, they're being played by men in their mid to late 30s who do not remotely look like they could be college age. All three look like time and drifting life has been very unkind to them. As much as I wanted to see Sean's return, to have it happen like this, where the characters are so far removed from what they were when we last saw them, makes me wish I never put those thoughts out into the universe. Their inclusion was just very awkward to watch. The film includes far too many flashbacks because it feels compelled to explain Jacob's existence every few minutes. 2 flashbacks would have been enough to get their backstory down. The rest could have been addressed between real-time characters on screen, but instead they kept throwing in all these flashbacks, most of which didn't add any new or useful information. On top of that, the film feels it has to constantly explain every character in the film or to ever exist, to the point it feels it needs to explain the origins of Leo and Santos from the previous films. These were characters we just accepted as being part of Dom's crew and being friends. We never needed to know how they met because it never mattered. But in this film, they got thrown into one of Dom's flashbacks, so we're told he met them while he was in jail. No one asked for that or needed that. I think this film spent more time talking and explaining IT stuff and having flashbacks than it did developing or depicting its damn story. It even neglected any decent action. Lots of chases and crashes, but not a single element of any of that was memorable. In the trailers, we're made to believe Cypher is the villain and she's recruited Dom's brother. It's even in the original synopsis. Not even close. Jacob and some rich diplomat's son are the villains and she's their prisoner, though she eventually breaks free to flip the script on Jacob, which allows Jacob a chance to unite with his brother. It's just a painful series of coincidences. Cypher is a great villain and how easily she manipulates people is great and fun to watch. Had they stuck to just having her being the villain and still having a grudge against Dom to the point she tracks down and uses his brother, that would have worked great. Instead of this over-the-top nonsensical plot concerning characters we've never met nor do we ever care about. I just can't stop looking back on everything in this film and I'm baffled by every single choice made. It's like 3 guys got together, everyone had a different idea and someone said, fuck it, let's do it all. I wish someone had been around to tell them, this is all a really bad idea, scrap it and start again. Look, there were indeed some elements to enjoy, like I love Roman making jokes about how invincible they all are and why is it after everything that they they've been through, none of them have a single scar on them. I've been addressing this for years and talking about how much I hate that everyone is going through hell and yet walking away unscathed. So I appreciate the film making fun of itself in that regard. I didn't hate this film, but I didn't enjoy it all that much, at least not to the extent that I have the previous films, and I was just exceptionally disappointed. How can a film do so much and be so disinteresting? I'm not entirely sure what the story was about. I'm not sure the objective, because the brothers story kept throwing me. We didn't need the inclusion of even half the characters we had. The settings didn't contribute to the story and were not anything interesting to look at. They could have been filmed anywhere, to be honest. There was no chemistry, no emotion, no fun, and the inclusion of Cardi B for 5 seconds where she leads some all-female crew who helped Dom break out of some situation should never have been included. We never actually saw them do anything. We just saw them sitting in the back of a car and taking helmets off. Nothing special about that whatsoever. I was all for another film because I love this franchise, so to get this has me more deflated than I ever thought possible. I know the previous films had some flaws, some more than others, but I felt the chemistry and heart they had and how entertaining they were made up for all that. In this, there's really nothing to distract from the problems, even small flaws, of which there are a lot. After I saw the film, I actually decided to look at some of the reviews, and it said that critics were praising the film's plot, and I'm just like, what? Because for me, keep in mind, we have had cars parachuting out of planes, we have had cars chasing submarines, some crazy shit has gone down, and yet this is without a doubt the most convoluted plot. Like I said, in previous films, if there was a gap somewhere in the story, in the next film, Morgan would fill in that gap, and he would do something that, even if it was a little bit crazy, it made sense. It tied and threaded things together, and I was always really impressed by that. In this, it basically took a giant pair of scissors and snipped all those threads away, and now half of what was built doesn't make sense. Dialogue from previous films don't make sense. They literally threw in everything and throw in, they just, Han's back, so let's throw in a flashback of Giselle. Look, I wish she'd never died and I would love to see her come back, but she's dead. I accept that she is dead. I even accepted that Han is dead. And then when I saw him in the trailer, and I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna pull this one off? With Letty, it actually worked. They set up that well enough that it worked, and they explained it very well. Han, I was just like, good luck with that. And then I'm watching it, I'm like, ha, you cocked that up. Like I said, I am a big fan of this franchise. Every time they announce they're doing another one, I don't roll my eyes or get upset. I cheer, I'm like, yay, they're doing another one. So I was excited, I was pumped for this one. So to watch it and to spend the entire film rolling my eyes, shaking my head, and laughing in disbelief. In past films, if I was laughing because something was genuinely funny or entertaining, and it was that way on purpose. In this, it was just me going, what were they thinking? If we were ranking the Fast and Furious films, for me, this one's coming last. It's the only one that genuinely disappointed me, did not really entertain me. There's nothing memorable about it. Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you have seen this film or you plan to see this film, please comment down below. Share your thoughts on said film. Would love to hear from you. That is it. I have to go and thaw my phalanges because I think they're about to snap off. They're that cold. Everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, watch lots and lots of movies, and I hope to see you in my next video. So until then, bye!